Hello, I'm Michael Marsh. Welcome to the program dedicated to reestablishing our constitutional republic. With me today is Marilyn Shannon, who is the chief petitioner of the initiative to stop public funding for abortion. And every once in a while you might see or hear my dog, who is also my co-host, Camo. uh, Marilyn, I understand you've got the initiative approved to be on the ballot in
Yes, we
November.
do. They validated enough that we could. We turned in. We gathered 151,000, but we turned in 141,000, and all we needed was 117. And it's interesting because, without even looking at them, they disavowed 10%.
Yeah.
Didn't just because that's what they do. But then when they looked at the numbers that they look at, they were 95.7% accurate, which is really great for volunteers.
Yeah, well, volunteers are probably a little more accurate than the people that
Get paid.
get paid because they volunteers are doing it because they love the
Yeah,
issue.
and somebody said that it hasn't, all volunteer initiative or referendum has not been approved since I think 2000. So
I can believe that because most back when I was out collecting signatures as a volunteer years ago, they were it was getting to the point where you just about had to pay
yeah, pay them, right.
to get on.
But see, they would pay them and then turn them in, and we didn't just turn them in. We matched them up against the voter file, and if they weren't in there right and all that, then we set aside 10,000 ourselves. Didn't even turn them in because we saw errors.
Yeah.
Questionable.
Yeah. Now, how is the voter registration?
On who signed our petition?
Yeah, because you got about what 300,000 more Democrats than Republicans, or Democrats
Well,
signing
yeah,
on.
isn't it closer to 250,000?
Well, that's close enough. Yeah, too many.
In 2004 we had it down to 40,000 gap.
Oh,
Isn't that something?
yeah.
But then that didn't work out. We lost control of the House and the Senate, and I've got my reasons. But it was interesting on the people that signed our petition. 68% were registered Republican, and how many? 20% were non-affiliated or independent, or what others, Constitution, whatever, and 12% were registered Democrats.
Good.
And so that's why it's not just a Republican. However, more and more, I'm hearing people say the issue of the day, like slavery was, in the middle 1800s. Well, Abraham Lincoln said slavery is wrong, and it's legal, but it's in their platform, but they're wrong. And the Supreme Court ruled slavery was okay, but they're wrong. And the Republican Party is against slavery, and they're right. And he said something like, although people think it's a settled issue because it went through the courts, it's wrong, morally wrong. And as long as it's wrong, we must work to change it. And by the way, I was listening to, I was on a conference call, and Andy Schlafly was on there, Phyllis's son, and he had been he's an attorney, and he said that some people were getting together because talking about the changes if we got a conservative court, because now we have it barely by one, but we could get it by two with Kavanaugh, and a lot of people back in D.C. think he's going to be confirmed. But the flag burning, that passed by one vote, some are maybe two, but they listed the bills that, we say that the Supreme Court legislated from the bench.
Yeah.
Yeah, and all of that legislating from the bench passed, just barely, and that it's normal and it's the right process, that when there is a shift, that they relook at these, and so that was kind of exciting.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people think that the flag is not just a piece of cloth, except for the Democrats. And they don't even do flag salutes at their county meetings. So, anyways, I don't know how I got off on that. But anyway, that the Democrats are very much. But I saw a man on TV today, or last night, a Democrat, and he said, I wish that the Democrat Party would allow pro-life Democrats to run for office, because all these states are turning red, and it's abortion that's doing it. So I thought that was kind of exciting, that some of the Democrats are realizing they shouldn't be so radical on this, because it is the moral issue of the day.
Well, it is. There's no question about it. It's murder. I mean, that's a living human being.
That's it. Then they're destroying the life, right?
Yeah.
Just like that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pumping its own blood, manufacturing it. The mother is just keeping a warm place for it and feeding it and getting rid of the waste. Otherwise, its own heart, its own head, brains,
And, I've seen some of the Democrats in the entertainment industry, they're bragging about how great it is. Everybody should, it's a fun thing to do.
It's so sad.
Yeah.
But I also heard a man say that it's a miracle when people realize that what abortion really goes on, because so many think. I was gathering signatures, and a woman said, it's not a baby. She really believed it. I don't know what she thought it was, but she just thought it was a bunch of tissue for a long time. But it is a baby.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, check out the ultrasound.
Yeah, the ultrasound. Well,
Yeah, the science has kind of done away with that argument.
Right, and these late-term abortions where they destroy the baby right in the process of being born. They're full term, and that whole procedure is just gross.
Which, brings us to Oregon. Doesn't Oregon law permit third trimester abortion?
Up till delivery, right? Birthday, that should be there. You can do it, and they twist them, and so all that's left in the birth canal is the head, and so that's how they can call it abortion. That arms and legs and everything's out, but it's a gross thing that they do.
Yeah.
When I was a state senator, I had a bill that would outlaw late-term abortions, and so Planned Parenthood had a doctor come that does abortions and testify. And so I said, do you really do abortions? And he said, yes. And I said, would you just explain to us your procedure for late term? And the senator that was chairing the committee leaned over to me and said, Marilyn, can you get through this? I'm about to throw up. It was so, but people don't want to think about what's really going on. But he was a good senator, but he did. But about 4,000 abortions are publicly funded in Oregon on the health plan last year. And anybody can come to Oregon and have unlimited abortions in a year or in their lifetime. And they've set aside, I think it's 12 million. I thought it was 20, but 12, for illegals. And they can come here, have their abortion, go back to their state or wherever they want to go. They're free. We're the abortion capital.
Well, that's nice of us.
Yeah, it's terrible of us. And if we think that we're going to go through this and not be judged by God, because there's the people that are doing it, which bad, and then there's the people that are looking the other way and said, doesn't affect me, that's their business. But every state gets to decide what murder is and what's the penalty for it. And it's not good in any way.
Now, if this passes, it doesn't outlaw abortions, does it?
Oh, no. They still can have sex selection abortions. They still can have late-term abortions. They can have, now in some states, they have rules against that. You can't have sex selection abortions, and you can't have all these. But in Oregon, just so people really know this, there are more safety regulations, state and federal, for veterinary clinics than there are for abortion clinics. In some states, you can't have an abortion facility or have a doctor do it unless there's a hospital nearby where they have privileges to practice medicine there, so their patients can go there. I think it's like within 2 miles. So even that would help if we had that restriction to help the mothers. That so that
Because sometimes things do go wrong during
absolutely they do.
abortion. Women have been known to die.
Absolutely. And there was a lady in Milwaukee, Oregon, and she just got a call and said that you need to get to the hospital quick with your insurance information because your daughter had an abortion this afternoon and they perforated her uterus and she's bleeding heavily. And the minute there's a problem, it's on your insurance card. It's on yours, But yes, but by the way, if you want to have an abortion right now, or if you know somebody, they just type in on the computer, I need an abortion, I want an abortion, because there's 501c3s that people, like we give to our churches, that's their cause, and they fund abortions for people, because abortions will still be legal in Oregon, right up to delivery. You don't have to live here, and for any reason, because we're totally unregulated. There's a lot of money in the pro-life community, and groups they've gotten a lot, but we don't have any restrictions on abortion in Oregon. Sad.
Yeah, it is. I'd settle, start out with the third trimester, and
Absolutely, that's
who's going to argue that? I mean, the baby is alive.
I don't know why that they don't do that.
Yeah.
Because that was my bill, and I did get it. Only one senator, a Republican, just went home. He lived east of the mountains, but everyone voted for it, even the pro-choice senators, and 2 Democrat senators voted for it. And but I don't think any this way. Did you know what happened in the Senate about? Rod Monroe was kind of a moderate.
Yeah.
He was not as radical, not as progressive as the others from Warner Pacific, and he was defeated in the primary by a very liberal woman. And now they have enough 16 votes of progressives that we're wondering if Peter, if they did win, if he would be Senate President again.
Yeah, I'm wondering about that too, because he very seldom votes the way I want him to.
But sometimes he does.
And he
does
he stops
bad. Yes, he stops bad.
That's the main thing.
Yeah, he has stopped some bad things. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm wondering if they're going to try to put Jenny Burdick in there.
I don't know who they're going to put in there, but if we don't flip some, seats, and because I know that in his heart he's pro-life, but I think that he couldn't have his position,
No. That's the sad thing about the Democratic Party. They are very hardcore on that.
Well, yeah, when they were talking a few months ago about allowing some of their candidates to run pro-life, the feminists said, you do that and we're gone.
Yeah.
And so they kind of backed off on it, but I don't know. But in some states, I said it, but I want to make sure I made it. ABC News said that in some states, like New York, abortions are cost-free if they're deemed medically necessary. But in Oregon, we're unique. It doesn't have to be to benefit, the woman or her life or do something because of the baby or whatever. You can just say, I've changed my mind, and I'm sure I'm having a boy, and I wanted a girl, and they'll just destroy the child. And even ABC thought that was pretty radical.
Yeah.
Because, it is.
It's very radical.
It is very, yeah. Have you seen what that what is her name? Candace Evans. I think that's her name.
Candace Owen?
Owens, yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, right, excuse me, yeah. She tweeted out yesterday, I think, or early today, that, because, Planned Parenthood really was started to destroy the black race. And
Yeah.
most Planned Parenthood facilities are in the black communities. And she said, "You didn't get me, I got out alive." And the people that run Facebook, they really thought that was terrible. But I don't know, I think they were trying to get her off the air. But it's fun that somebody can call it out and say, it's more fun, when a black person does, because that's who their target was.
Oh, yeah. And she was pretty open about it.
Oh, yeah.
Margaret Sanger, yeah.
Oh, have you seen that movie that was out, Death of a Nation?
I've seen advertisements for it, but I haven't actually seen the movie.
Well, we went to see it.
Oh.
And they were talking about the progressives in, and I'd heard it before, but the Hitler and, and he, because euthanasia, Margaret Stanger, she went over there to Russia, not to Germany, but the progressives, there was a connection between the, euthanasia people over there and here, that they, encouraged each other, or there was a connection.
Oh, yeah, a lot of Hitler's ideas came from her, from the progressives here in this country.
Exactly, that's what the movie said. They took it from over here. We thought, we took it from them, but no, they took it from us.
Yeah, in fact, the Nuremberg trials, they talk about how Goering used the defense that they were only following orders.
Yes.
Okay, that was one of the defenses. But the other one was, hey, we're just implementing the policy you people have been advocating. They don't talk about that, though. Yeah.
But that's what in fact, he talked about, and I went home and looked it up, Jeffersonian, how he was not very nice to the black people. And and Hitler says he took that right out of a page out of the way Jackson treated the black people. And, he was so evil.
Yeah.
And,
no. Yeah, so with that, did you see that here in Salem?
I did see it out at San Am.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know but what isn't still there.
I don't know.
But it was really good. There was he covered a lot of history, and he really exposed how bad progressivism is, that it's just selfish. Yeah. And it's wicked. It's really. Of course, I did, when I was in high school, there was some history. We knew who many of our major presidents were. I mean, the kids now, somebody said there was just 2 paragraphs about Abraham Lincoln in all of some of the high school history books. Well, actually, they kind of combine history and geography.
Yeah.
So.
Social studies.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Let's see. What else? But anyway, that is really one of the major things, because a newspaper man interviewed me, and he said, "You do know that Planned Parenthood's going to come after you and going to paint you with this brush, that these people want to stop abortion. But what we want to do is stop the funding of it. Abortion will still be legal up to, like I said, their delivery date."
Yeah.
I mean,
although I would like to see that change, but for right now, I'd settle for not having to pay for it.
Right. A lot of people would. Yeah. A lot of people would. And more than just Republicans, like I said. Yeah. Although they have done the heavy lifting on it and exposed it for what it is. And I'm excited because it is new. They call it, this is the pro-life generation, and the younger people are realizing that it's not right.
Yeah.
But and doing something about it. So we'll have to watch and see. So
Well, you know, in talking to young people, it's, I think people would be surprised at how many of them are actually pro-life rather than,
the youngers,
yeah,
well, if you really ran that through and they realized that that's the destroying of life, and then they learned their mother had one, and then they realized mom killed my brother and mom killed my sister. And that's why when couples are together, you know, and then they have abortions, it's really high, like 80% or 75%. They have separated
yeah,
within because they lose respect. Something happens there. And when the kids realize that, and they have to because that's what happens when an abortion, the
yeah,
baby that's their brother or sister, has been destroyed by the mother and her doctor. So, and it's sad.
it is.
But, well, and it goes farther when the parents get old. you know, well, you know, when somebody was in your way, you just destroyed them. You
Yeah.
know, and so they might, you know, lose respect for them. It's always best just to have the baby.
I agree.
And
And when a society that allows the third trimester abortions, you have to wonder how long it's going to be till they say, okay, you're 80 years old, time for you to go.
mhm. It's a slippery slope.
Yeah.
And but there's a lot of people that are waking up. I went to hear Franklin Graham
Oh,
on Sunday at that Canby thing, and I will just tell you the most exciting part of his speech talk was he said what we need to do, because his father Billy, you know, was so anti-political, although he went and visited the presidents, but he never, you know, whatever, but talked about how politics need to be changed. But and some people think that politics is dirty and you shouldn't. But you know, I don't know where I heard this, but when Jesus said the people were praying, you know, and the guy couldn't walk, and he said, "Pick up your bed and walk." And he said to that one Naaman in the Old Testament, "Dip in the water 7." Most of the time, when you pray for something, God allows you to put feet to your prayers. And so Billy Graham said, not, what's his name? Franklin
Franklin.
said, what we need to happen to turn our country around is pastors in every town in the country. You need to look around your churches and you need to identify some wise and faithful men and women that would work good on school boards and then help get them elected. Because that's what Gorbachev, that guy that pounded his shoe and said, we will,
Khrushchev?
yeah, Khrushchev, they targeted our schools. They target our education system. And we need to take back our school boards,
Yeah.
right? That's the first thing we need to do. And he also said, now really, folks, if all the pastors would listen and do the right thing, we could turn our country around in 2 weeks. You know, in fact, in Oregon, if the bishops and the Jewish and people, you know, from sundown on Friday till sundown, and all the churches that felt, you know, God didn't want abortion, these things, we could get signatures for our initiatives, you know, but they won't do that because there's that ugly lie that politics is dirty and we're not supposed to be involved, which we are.
Yeah.
So Deuteronomy 1:13, Moses told the people, you choose,
Yeah.
that's the seed of self-government, you choose people wise, full of understanding, and I will anoint them, or, you know, pray over them. And he wanted us to be involved in picking our leaders.
And that's where the United States got its, when they had their constitutional convention, that's where they came up with the idea of having a Republican form of government. From, I think it's Numbers 18, if I remember correctly. But, you know, they were to choose people to represent them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's the difference between a republic. My aunt and my husband's aunt, who was a senator, and she explained that to me, that when you elect somebody, you don't elect them to vote just like you would. You hire them to listen to the debate, because when the lobbyists and people come to testify, a bill might look good. Is it going apart here? Anyway, it might look good on the outside, but when you hear two sides come, that's a Republican form of government. The democracy is mob rule, you know. They all vote for everything. But yeah, they did make us a republic on purpose.
Yeah.
Where people.
Now, on the abortion issue, you have a lot of people working for the cause, continue working
Oh
to make
yeah,
sure it
oh
gets
yeah.
elected.
Right now we're trying to figure out what our, like Make America Great Again or Keep
Yeah.
America Great, the new one for 2020. Yes, we have. We're honing that down, getting that perfect, and we do have lots of volunteers still
Good.
working and praying, and we're putting it together. We're not ready to roll it out yet, but we're getting there, because we want it pretty much the most acceptable way, and not be, it's just smart, so you don't have to undo something and do it over. But we have very talented people
Good.
helping us, so. And especially Jeff Jimerson. Jeff Jimerson, we started this in 2012. I was so honored when they came to my house and asked me if I would be chief petitioner, because I'd been working on this since the 70s.
Yeah, I can remember. In fact, I remember going house to house for you.
Right. And we,
Yeah.
and so, but anyway, and we didn't make it. We turned in 71,000 signatures. We need 114 then or something. Then in 2014, we turned in 90,000. In 2016, they held us up in court. And so by the time everything was ready, we had 2 weeks.
Ouch.
And so we knew we couldn't do that for 16. So we filed it. And all of the lawsuits and everything was already, they couldn't slow us down because everything was resolved. So we filed it for this November 18. Yeah. And we had much more time. And we had, we had many more circulators that we could mail directly to, and because they'd already been helping us before. And so this is really our 4th try, and we're excited. But I know that it's going to get national attention.
Oh yeah.
And lots of money, because
Planned Parenthood has a lot of money.
they have millions,
Yeah.
and a lot of it's taxpayer money.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
Plus the SEIU will probably come in on their side, and that's also tax money.
Aren't they precious?
Yeah.
I should.
I don't know why they're allowed to participate in the electoral process.
When I was in Minneapolis in 2008, they stayed, a lot of them, at the same hotel. That was when Romney was nominated, and they stayed at our hotel. And I went early, and I was downtown at Macy's, and then they came to town and they broke all these windows, the SEIU people. And after the convention was over, I was down in the computer room with my friend. She was from Utah, and she was filing a story, and so I was just looking at my email and stuff and waiting for her. And then they came in there. They wanted to use the computers. I said, "Oh, go ahead, And what they were doing was, they had tickets to fly out. This was Friday night, to fly out Saturday afternoon. But they were so sick of being around Republicans, and they had SEIU union dues. They were rolling in it, and they were paying $800 for tickets from Minneapolis to Denver.
Wow.
I just thought, if those people, because I know the SEIU employees don't get the highest wages, but they, in my mind, weren't respectful to the sacrifice the people make to pay the dues. And they let their other tickets just fly.
Yeah.
I mean, just, I don't know. But
Well,
anyways.
We're out of time, unfortunately.
Are we already?
Yes. I'm glad you
Okay.
came on to talk about it.
Thanks, yeah. Well, we'll be rolling out our whole program soon, and our
Good.
whole theme and all of that, and who's our spokesperson and stuff.
I
I'm
hope
just
to
a
have you back.
volunteer. Yeah, thank you, Michael. Thank
right.
you.
Thank you.
I'll probably get in trouble for all the gossip. But anyways,
That's okay.
as long as it's truth.
Yeah.
Well, here we go.